Welcome to the wonderful world of mentoring. Learn more right after this.
Hi, may I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome to Community Watch. Greg.
Oh! How you doing, brother?
You gotta warn me when you do this.
It's one
I'm
of those kind
fine.
of shows. It's one of those kind of shows.
Why is that?
Because when you're a mentor, you never know. You know this as well as anybody. Being a mentor, you just never know what kind of surprises you're going to have. Working with kids, even adults.
Well, we've done several shows on mentoring in the past. In fact,
Our very first
our
show.
very first show, and that was about 20 years ago. Well, not exactly.
Not exactly,
But it's been a while.
yes.
I wonder if that even still exists.
It is. It's on YouTube.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, they're going to do like a Community Watch Classic.
We could. But our
We
very
could-
first
I
show
could,
was about mentoring.
Yeah, that was. Well, it's always good to do a show about mentoring, and I know people talk about it a lot. More people need to do it.
Do it, yeah. People recognize the importance of mentoring. People are always looking for mentors, but more people need to do it.
Well, I know that we have several guests to talk with us today about mentoring, different aspects of it, and even if we go over some of the same elements that we have in the past, it's still worthwhile. It still needs to be said again. But I have a feeling there'll be some new twists this time as well.
Oh yes, always.
Yeah.
That's mentoring.
So stay with us. We'll be back with our guests right after this.
I'm transferring to the University of West Georgia.
Columbia University.
Kennesaw State,
UGA, Loyola University in Chicago.
Grambling State.
Shorter University. I'm going to Greensboro College, and we all got our start at Georgia Highlands.
No matter where your educational journey takes you, you can get your start at Georgia Highlands College. Georgia Highlands College. Enroll, engage, excel.
Welcome back to Community Watch, and we're very happy to have with us today Ms. Berrien and Ms. Allen. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And you represent the AKAs,
Yes.
all right, which is Alpha. I got a lesson right before the show now, so it's Alpha, Kappa, Alpha. Is that right?
That's right.
See, I didn't know that before.
Sorority.
Sorority, of course.
Incorporated.
Incorporated.
Yes.
Incorporated. We can't forget that part. And this particular chapter has its own name. You're going to have to
Yes.
help me with that, though.
Theta,
Theta.
Omicron, Omega.
Okay. And that is distinct to
Yes.
this chapter.
Yes.
Okay. No other chapter has that.
No.
Okay. All right.
I just call them the AKAs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it is.
No, you
yeah,
have to
you have to know.
In talking about mentoring, is this something that your chapter has been involved in for a while?
Oh, yes. We have, we do it, we have done it in elementary schools. And one year we picked Southeast, and we did mentoring there with the second grade and all. And we had like a rites of passage group that also. Then we've done it in the middle schools.
Is that part of like a chapter mission? Is that part of?
It's part of one of our programs. Just like as Mrs. Berrien mentioned before, we were in the elementary school, and we just felt like there was a need to work with older young ladies. And you know, some of the Sorors, some of the members got together, and we started out at Rome High School. We were out there for about two and a half years.
Yeah.
And then we started talking to Miss Perkins at the PLC, the Phoenix Learning Center. And because of her special young ladies over there, we felt like this is a program that would really benefit these young ladies. You know, because I always like to tell everybody, every person has their own story to tell. They just need someone to tell it to. And so we go over to the PLC. We go there once a month. We try to stay for an hour, but usually the young ladies will keep us there for an hour and a half, 2 hours. But it's so worthwhile. And like you were saying, we need so many more people out there who can mentor these young people.
You know, I guess I kind of assume that when we talk about mentoring, people know what that means, but maybe not, and maybe it doesn't mean the same thing in every situation. But when you mentor, when the AKAs mentor, what does that involve exactly?
Okay, what we do is, and I'll let you go next, is we always have a theme. You know, we have, we meet with the girls as a group. We do a lot of group activities. We try to bring in outside speakers. And some, like you said, the mentoring programs are different. With some, it might be one-on-one. But for us, we found out that the group model works best for us. And we have anywhere between 22, 26 young ladies.
Okay. At one time?
At one time.
time.
Yes,
Oh my
we do.
goodness.
And they look forward to it, and they'll ask you about it. And I just think it is so, you know, because in all fairness, young men, I do think people recognize the trouble that a lot of young men and the barriers they encounter, especially young men of color. I don't know that the same amount of attention is given to young ladies, but it's my belief, you know, that young girls need just as much as mentoring, if not more, than young men. But you know, we as a society, we seem to recognize that men have problems. We got to work with the young boys. But sometimes I think we forget about that young girls need mentoring as well, because all girls grow up in different situations, have different stories, as you say, and they need people as well to be able to talk to and someone to mentor them. It's not like they just turn 18 and become a woman. You know, there's a rites of passage you need to go through. And so it's very key. And so when the AKAs came to the PLC, it was very gratifying as a member of the 100. Because if we're working with young boys, somebody need to be working with young girls, so that you don't have these boys we worked with and then girls that, you know, we need a standard for both of them. So it was a very good day for us when we seen that the AKAs was actually come to the PLC.
And the young girls, when they shared their stories with us, it seemed like some of them have a relief that they have someone that they can talk with, if they're really interested in them. And then some of them even shared that after talking, they're going to go on and finish school, and some would tell us what profession they'd like to go into. And it's really been interesting and gratifying to us also to share with them some of our experiences, and then they share theirs with us. And it really, you can see a change in them. And like Greg was saying, they look forward to coming, sharing this with us. And it's really gratifying.
Well, I wonder then if that sort of suggests that it's rare for someone to show that much interest, to hear a story, to hear them talk. Maybe that's part of what makes it successful, is that you are there only for them, and only to hear them and talk with them, and that's got to make them feel special, I would think.
And and that's what we want each one of those young ladies to feel, because we don't know what is going on with them when they leave home in the morning time or when they go back home in the afternoon. And if we can make a difference just while they're at the school, and we want the girls to know that we care about them. If you're out somewhere on the street and you'll hear someone calling your name, you start grinning. Or if you walk into one of these places and the young lady or the young man may have a job there and they'll speak to you, and it's almost like these are our children. We develop that relationship with them, and it's just, we feel good about doing it. This is something that we can give back to the community. And I love it.
It's obvious by listening to both of you talking your emotions that you get just as much out of it as you put in. And in fact, as a mentor, I think it's safe to say that if you really mentoring, it's almost as if you always get more out of it from the student than you put in. Because it is a symbiotic relationship. It's not just this older person talking to a young person. It is a mutual sharing relationship. And you learn so much from these students, and it is gratifying when you go into a store and someone yell your name and you're like, who calling me? And they run up to you and they give you updates about their life. It is really gratifying. But the sad part about mentoring, and we're going to talk later a little bit about an event we got coming up collectively, is because we don't have enough people mentoring. And I think sometimes it's very frustrating as the president of the 100, which we are a mentoring organization, that everybody wants mentors. But I'm always quick to ask, if you asking me to be a mentor, or are you being a mentor to somebody as well? Because everybody wants a mentor, but no, it's not as if everybody wants to be a mentor. And everybody can be a mentor. Even a guy or a lady who's coming out of jail can be a mentor because they have something of value to give with that child. And so it is somewhat frustrating to realize that we have such a need for mentors, but yet it seems like for whatever reason, we just can't always find them. And mentoring it's not just something, it's a process we go through. I mean, it's guidelines, it's background check, there's things you have to do, but we should have more mentors than we have. And you don't have to be a part of an organization to be a mentor.
Well, I wonder why it is, and I know we've talked about this not just on the program, but outside of the program, why it is that people are seem to be unwilling to commit to something that they say is important. Is it a time factor, or is it more than that?
That's a good one.
I don't know.
I don't know.
That's a good one.
Because from what you describe, once a month is when you go, and maybe no more than a couple of hours. Well,
right.
That seems like a very minimal amount of time to devote to it.
But actually, we go once a month, but when you meet children every day and you talk with them and share with them and they sit down and talk, I know I've had meet children that I've taught, and I taught their children, and they share with me things, and then they say, well, you know what, I'm glad I talked with you, and you don't have to always be in a building, because you meet people and meet, even in my Sunday school class, I mentor, so you can be mentoring all the time.
The standard Rome City Schools and CIS use, the model they use, if I'm correct, is they ask for mentors in the school 1 hour a week, once a week. That's the standard that they have. Fortunately, the AKAs, the Megas, and the 100, as mentoring organizations, an organization that does mentoring, we have some different guidelines. But still, 1 hour a week is not a lot to ask. And a lot of employers will allow you to go during your lunch hour to be a mentor, because we have a lot of business partners with school mentoring with CIS. So that is a great question, where people recognize the value of a mentor, but a lot of people are not willing to commit to that value process.
I don't have an answer.
Me either.
Because I'm a pretty busy guy.
You mentor a great deal of kids. I can vouch for you.
I think you just have to find a person who is willing, you know, to make that sacrifice. You know, it might be a family man, and he has his own children, but if he could squeeze in maybe an hour a week, an hour every 2 weeks, 2 weeks, you know, that would be great.
Yeah.
It would be nice if we had more mentors, because we have the kids out there who desperately need them.
Well, we're coming up on a break. We're going to talk more about this subject, so please don't leave us. We'll be right back.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Community Watch, and we've been joined by Curtis Adams, past president of 100 Black Men of Rome, Northwest Georgia, and the subject today is mentoring, and you're kind of a professional mentor, I would say. And I know there's an event coming up that we want to mention.
Kurt is one of my mentors. I mean, Kurt actually, when I joined the 100 years ago, Kurt just took me up under his wing and.
Which was a brave thing to do, I must say.
Well, I heard that you were, I was trying to follow in your footsteps.
Yeah,
I think you're one of his original mentors. But yeah, we've been doing it a long time. Our organization has, we've received our charter in 1994, so about 21 years. And we've had some adventures, the three of us, mentoring young men. And, you know, it's definitely fulfilling. Sometimes it's a thankless effort, but you know, it's worthwhile. And our big thing is always resources, and the biggest resource is time and people to do it, and then money to execute some of the programs. So so we've been working in collaboration with a few organizations to do events centered around mentoring, because as you know as well as Greg know, that you know just talking is very important sometimes, but they like to see things and experiences they haven't been exposed to. And so field trips and new adventures, you guys have had me on a few. I remember rock climbing and spelunking and some of those things.
I have
It's been some years.
I have clothes from the cave trip, the spelunking, that I have never been able to get clean. Ever, no matter how hard I mean that I don't know what kind of mud is in the cave, but it is with you forever. I mean, you never leave the mud.
Well, I would tell you a real quick experience. We were at the cabin up in Cloudland, and that's when we probably were all less fit, except for you, Doc. And Greg and I, we took kids down there, and we went to the bottom of the canyon. Was not a problem. Coming up, I remember myself and Mr. Shropshire, and probably 2 or 3 kids, we were gasping for air. And so we took a break. Most of the kids went up with you, but man, I didn't think I was gonna make it back up there. But it was a nice experience. I think we took a break halfway up and said, "Hey,
we took a couple of breaks."
Yeah, it's not enough oxygen between the 4 or 5 of us. But yeah, so we've been working with several organizations to do some collaborative efforts, because there's not enough mentors in the school system. I know you do a lot and you take on a lot. And we just need to do more collective efforts.
Mention the event that's coming up, because I know once we get started talking, we might forget to do it. So I want to make sure that it's out there.
Well, let me get some background on this. You know, a while ago, some time ago, the AKAs, which were on earlier, the Mega Psi Phi fraternity, relatively new, about 2 or 3 years new here in Rome, a grad chapter, and AKAs, you know, we've all worked together and overlap, and we start talking about collaborating. And, you know, we work with some of the same kids in our different programs, but about coming together and collaborating. And so we had a mentor bowling event that was very successful. It was a great time. And it was just good to have mentors come together and have time. We had students there as well, but just to see other mentors and collaborate in that sense of a brotherhood and sisterhood, that we're all in this together. And so we decided to do another event. And so on September the 8th at Classic Bowling Lanes, the AKAs, the Omegas, and the 100 Black Men of Rome will be doing a mentor bowling event. And we're trying to raise the awareness about mentoring, but also raise funds, because one of the things we've done this year that is different in the past, working with the Phoenix Learning Center and the Rome Transition Academy, we're sponsoring a lot of activities outside of school. Mm-hmm. And so funds that will be raised during this event will be used, because as one of the things we talk about, and you gentlemen know just as well as anybody, exposure. When we talk about those cave trips and we laugh, but then I think how many kids have gone spelunking, cave diving since then if we didn't take them? How many of our kids that's in our programs, how many of them have had the experiences that we do through things like foundation camps? You know, and it's sad when you think about it that if, you know, outside of some of our programs, some of these kids may never have some of those experiences. And so the event is to not only raise money, but to raise awareness. We need more mentors in the school systems.
Yeah. And that was my takeaway when we had the event, I guess in the spring of early in the year. It was a great time, great fellowship, but seeing the kids interact with the mentors was a very positive takeaway. And so raising awareness and raising funds, I mean, sometimes it scares people away when we're talking about raising funds, but the experiences, you guys know, you know, we've taken boys down to the Morehouse and Spelman Glee Club. We enjoyed it. They tolerated it, but
I bet their memory of it is different. Yeah,
We've had some great field trips over the years, and so that's why it's so important that, you know, we want people to come out and support this event. We have the whole bowling alley reserved for that night. And so the bowlers that typically would bowl during the week, we're asking them to come out and help us raise funds to sponsor some of these type activities. And, you know, it affects and changes a kid forever, because you guys know that several of the kids that we've just taken to Atlanta on a simple field trip, I mean, they're amazed by elevator rides and things that they don't see here in our community. And so, you know, it's the simple stuff, but time and having time available is probably the most important thing.
You know, Miss Berrien or Miss Ellen earlier was talking about the experiences, and maybe it was you, Doc, but sometimes I think when you mentor, for me, when you're a mentor, sometimes it humbles you and you realize how much we take for granted. I think it was you who was mentioning that a kid, it was one of those overnight stays and they want to know that they have to bring their own cover or something. And it's like, we just assume that everybody is having these same similar experiences that we're having or our children are having, but you have kids who have never been to a hotel and stayed overnight. You have kids that's never been to a real sit-down style restaurant. And so it's not uncommon to take kids on a nice restaurant. You say, well, what, you know, order from the menu. I just have chicken fingers. And you're like, you know, you can have anything on the menu. And so mentoring is just one of those things that for us in the 100, it's not something you join, it's a lifestyle. We believe that. We really believe it is what they say is what they'll be. But we really have to do a better job in trying to find and recruit more people to mentor, because it's not, and even if you don't want to deal with elementary kids, all the way from elementary to college, you know more than most people. Even at the college level, kids still need mentors. I have several mentors. And so and it's something that you truly take something from.
Yeah, I was going to say that's an interesting point. A few years back, the 100 changed their motto meant to mentoring across the lifetime. And when I evaluate the mentors that I've had over the years that I still stay in touch with, I mean, people like Mr. Vaughn. And I mean, I started the organization with him about 22 years ago. And people say, why are you hanging out with them older gentlemen? And it's because I wanted to learn something. But my most vivid memories of mentoring is Mr. Vaughn and I having breakfast on Saturday morning at the Crystal. I learned a lot about him, learned a lot about education and everything. So it is mentoring across the lifetime. So from elementary to middle school, transitional school, high school, college, you know, we all need mentors.
Yeah. When is this bowling event?
September the 8th at Classic Bowling Lanes from 7 to 9 p.m.
That's West Rome.
West Rome. And I'm happy to say Georgia Highlands admission team will be there.
Excellent.
So not only can you come out and learn about mentoring, you can actually come out and meet the admission people from Georgia Highlands College. Another one of the teams I know that will be there is the Rome Police Department. We felt it very important that, you know, we've been fortunate not to have a Ferguson type event. But we have had several deaths in Rome of late, and we wanted to take this opportunity as well for the police department and the citizens to do a better job of getting to know each other. And so I was happy the other day that Chief Snow said the Rome Police Department will have a team there as well.
So for folks who want to participate, what do they need to do?
Well, they can call 678-956-9660, or they can reach any member of the AKAs, the Omega Psi Phi fraternity, or the 100 Black Men of Rome. All three organizations are co-sponsoring the event, so you can find out more by reaching out to any one of them. But if you don't know one of them personally, like I said, you can call 678-956-9660.
And we'll let you hear that number again at the end of the show, so if you need to get something to write on, you have time to do that. Well, you know, I was saying that we had done shows about mentoring, but you know, it might be fun to do a show where we kind of talk about our experiences. Because just listening to y'all made me think of quite a few.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Quite a few over the years. So.
Yeah, we've enjoyed some great times over the years.
You've exposed us to a lot.
Yes, yeah.
Well, I guess that's good. We are coming up on a break, though, so when we come back, I'll give you the contact information for this bowling event you want to take part in or donate to. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Looks like it's done.
Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So learn the right temperature to cook each type of meat. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
Welcome back to Community Watch. We've been talking about mentoring today, and there is an event coming up on Tuesday, September 8th at the Classic Lane Bowling Center in West Rome to raise money for mentoring causes. The AKAs, the Omega Psi Phi fraternity, the 100 Black Men of Rome, Northwest Georgia are sponsoring this. So if you want to participate or donate, what number do you call?
678-956-9660. And if people can't bowl that night, but they still want to sponsor a student, they still can sponsor a student. It's $25 a person or $125 for a 5-man team. Okay. And all the proceeds will be going to the mentoring programs at the Phoenix Learning Center and the Rome Transitional Academy.
Okay. Well, thank you for being with us. We'll see you next time on Community Watch.